Nostradamus was a French astrologer born in 1503, and his name is known or synonymous in predicting the future. He wrote what's called quatrains, and they were as cryptic as you could get, meaning that you could take almost any meaning from each one as they weren't real specific. But surprisingly, some of his predictions have come true, such as Hitler's rise to power and even the September 9/11 terrorist attacks. So what did Nostradamus predict for our current year? If you're curious and you want to see what the future of 2018 holds, check out these 5 Nostradamus predictions for this year. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. World War III. Nostradamus has predicted many things, depending on how you read his cryptic writings. And many of those things have been cataclysmic, such as some earthquakes, some volcanic explosions, and sometimes he's predicted wars. Many have said that some of his writings claim that World War III will start soon. He has been wrong on more than a few occasions, but that doesn't mean that someone has read his prophecies correctly. And if you take this into consideration, Nostradamus has predicted the beginning of World War III a few times, or the people trying to interpret his prophecies. He predicted the beginning of World War III would happen between 1998 and 1999, and Pakistan was also part of the prophecy. Of course, this didn't happen. But the year 2018 seems to have some of the worst predictions given by the man. Some researchers of the French prophet have said that he's accurately depicted barbaric acts that ISIS has committed, including places they've wanted to capture. But his other predictions for 2018 are heavy, with catastrophe and what could very well be the beginning of World War III. For real this time. The prophecy comes from the book written by Nostradamus called Les Prophéties, and has inside written a prophecy which describes the start of World War III. The prediction says that a big war will start in France and all of Europe will be attacked. It also states that this will be a long and terrifying time for all people involved. But peace will come, but there will be few left to enjoy it. That is because the prophecy states there will be a war that starts between 2 great powers and it will last 27 years. It's not known who the aggressor is, but some people believe that North Korea, China, and Russia will unite as one to take down the United States. Nostradamus has been wrong a few times. In fact, some of his predictions made little sense and nothing happened. However, if you look deeper into some of his quatrains, you might find some stuff to be a bit spooky, as he's predicted with accuracy many things. Will 2018 be the start of World War III? Keep your eyes on France. Number 4. Terrible earthquakes. When it comes to earthquakes, there's no other natural disaster that can be so devastating and also come without any warning. That's because you can't predict when an earthquake will happen, only that an earthquake is probably due. However, some scientists have predicted that in 2018, there are going to be more earthquakes due to the slower rotation of the planet, although it is ever so slight. One of the reasons the Earth is slowing down is because the moon is moving further away from us each year. The reason for mentioning the previous stuff is that Nostradamus has seemingly predicted some massive earthquakes will happen in the United States and the rest of the world. It would seem that his prophecies are beginning to unfold, as there has been a rise in earthquakes over the last century. Perhaps Nostradamus also predicted the slow of the Earth. In his book Les Prophéties, which we previously mentioned, there are 1,000 quatrains, which are basically 4-line rhyming verses for those who don't know what a quatrain is. In these is a terrible prediction for the USA, in which a big natural disaster will destroy a big portion of the western United States. His quatrain is translated as such: "An earthquake shall concern particularly the western area of the United States. Its power shall be felt in lands throughout the globe." This is interesting because California is split by a massive fault line called the San Andreas Fault, in which 2 massive tectonic plates sit next to each other. If a big earthquake ever hits this area, most of California would be devastated. But this isn't all that lies in the western part of the USA. Yellowstone National Park is located in Idaho, part of the western states. Just recently, the geyser at Yellowstone National Park has been erupting irregularly, and scientists don't know why. It's a really good time to mention that Yellowstone sits on top of an active supervolcano that could erupt at any time. An eruption by this volcano would most likely cause massive earthquakes and could just about destroy the western states. It could be that Nostradamus has predicted that the Yellowstone volcano could erupt. It would be like nothing we've witnessed in modern times. Number 3. A major eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Speaking of volcanoes, Mount Vesuvius, which erupted in 79 AD and took about 1,500 Romans along with its massive explosion, has been predicted by Nostradamus to erupt again in modern times. That early eruption, which destroyed the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum, ejected a hail of large stones, ash, and volcanic gases 21 miles into the air. Molten rock, lava, and pulverized pumice spread at 8 by 10 cubic yards per second. The release was 100,000 times more powerful than the thermal energy released by the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. This wasn't the only time the volcano erupted. There was another eruption in 1631, and in 1944 there was a minor explosion, but it still took the lives of 26 people. The volcano's in a dormant stage, but that doesn't mean anything, as it's still active. It's regarded as one of the most dangerous stratovolcanoes in the world. The prediction leads one to believe that the next volcanic eruption will be at least 10 times more powerful, and according to his prediction, the immense volcanic eruption will shake the ground every 5 minutes, and it will decimate from 100,000 to 1 million people. This is also quite possible considering where the volcano is located in Italy. According to scientists, it's not a matter of if the volcano will erupt, but only when. Some geologists and people who study volcanoes have said that Vesuvius is overdue for a violent eruption and explosion. Many people will say that Nostradamus' prediction is overzealous. But if Mount Vesuvius were to erupt today, there would be at least 3 million people in danger. And to make matters worse, the scientists that study the volcano expect it to be much worse and say that it will be an incredibly forceful explosion where rock and ash could be ejected at more than 100 miles per hour. In fact, the damage would be so great that it would completely wipe out the city of Naples. There are currently people living in the red zone of this volcano that have received an offer of $45,000 to relocate away from the volcano, but so far there have been no takers. Number 2. Comet or asteroid strike. Nostradamus wasn't known for bringing any good news. Perhaps that's why he was so famous. Many of his predictions were all gloom and doom, and it seems like people love to hear interesting stories of impending doom. Many people have tried to decipher the writings of Nostradamus and come up with explanations of his predictions. Nostradamus' quatrains, for the most part, don't have any date, and they are obscurely written. Many would say it's easier to predict the future with such writing, but Nostradamus wrote in some sort of coded syntax that used 4 different languages together: Italian, Greek, Latin, which his name was translated in, and the Provençal dialect. He did this so that he would not upset the churches with his predictions of the future. Of his 6,338 prophecies, he is said to have predicted that in the year 2018, a fire will fall from the sky which will appear in several countries and will burn some palace. The fire will be great. Keep in mind that although astronomers keep watch on skies for potential hazardous objects, some slip through without any warning. There have been at least 2 asteroids that have come close to the planet, and no one knew they were coming until the day before. Another asteroid recently impacted the atmosphere and lit up the sky. No one saw this one coming either. So if you check the news for incoming asteroids, don't take anyone's word for it. The big one could come with only a day's notice before it struck the Earth. And as we said, there aren't any exact dates, but someone has deciphered some of the late great prophet's quatrains and said that a comet called Schwarzmann-Wachmann 3 will hit the Earth sometime between May and June 2022. The man doing the predicting of the prediction is author J. Anthony Torino, who has written a scientific fiction novel about this. He also did all the research on his own and even bought a telescope. Some asteroids or meteors have already shown themselves this year, and it could be the prelude to the one that does do serious damage. Anyone remember that Chelyabinsk meteor? No one saw that one coming until it was streaking over the city, causing a massive atmospheric impact which shattered glass in 7,200 buildings for miles and injured thousands of people, and it was only 20 meters in diameter. Number 1. Economic collapse. It shouldn't come as a surprise that with all these things that Nostradamus predicted, economic collapse would come shortly after an impending disaster. So if you take into consideration the previously mentioned disasters, especially a war with the United States, which arguably controls the global economy, then you understand that an economic collapse would be inevitable. Nostradamus predicted that early in 2018 there would be some instability in the gold market, in which there was with Donald Trump becoming president. No one knew at the time what would happen in the markets during the transition of the American president. By the way, it might be interesting to note that there was no United States during the time of Nostradamus. But he does mention that gold in the country would run out in this country that he called the Guardian of the Cross beyond the ocean. He also wrote that the rich would die many times over, which would seem that the collapse is going to come from the result of World War III or some natural disaster that'll affect the globe, such as the asteroid or a supervolcano explosion which would cause a global problem. Another thing is, it's possible that cryptocurrencies could cause an economic collapse since so much has been happening with them this year. What's more is that China and the USA are now in some trade war type stuff because President Trump says that many countries have been taking advantage of the USA through trade. China could inevitably destroy the world's economy if it wanted to, but it would also destroy its own currency in the process. It's been said for years that there would be an economic collapse, and many financial advisors have spoken about these dangers for years. The biggest problem with the world economy now is the poor distribution of wealth. With a system like this in place that sees 1% of the world's population owning the majority of the wealth, something has to give sooner or later. So could this prediction come true in 2018? Well, there are already many saying that a global economic collapse is going to happen. And it's also not a matter of if, but when it will happen. Hope you enjoyed the video, Top 5ers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, Americano, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There'll be a link in the description, so check it out, as well as our other cool